Newark is taking a major step forward in expanding access to mental health care thanks to a powerful new community initiative. La Casa de Don Pedro has just opened El Barrio Wellness, a $1.2 million mental health center designed to specifically serve children, adults, and families with bilingual care. Peter Rosario is the president and CEO of La Casa de Don Pedro to talk about what this new center means for the community. We say good morning and welcome to you, Peter.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, Ken.
You bet. So how did this facility first come about? What was the impetus behind it?
I came to La Casa in the midst of COVID, and I think it became very evident that we were going to have a longer term issue with behavioral health. Ironically enough, I was at a conference, and one of the practitioners said, "I grew up in Newark. I'd love to be able to come back to Newark and open up a clinic at low or no cost." And I raised my hand, and anybody who knows, when La Casa Don Pedro says they want to do something, we tend to have a pretty good track record of doing it. It took us 2.5 years to secure the funding because we wanted to do this right, because we knew when we opened the floodgates, it was going to be such an important need in the community. And we're here just in time for the holidays, which, as everybody knows, if you don't know, uh, aside from bad dad jokes and other kinds of trauma that are inflicted on our community, there is real trauma during the
Yeah.
holidays. So that we feel like it's perfect timing to start up and open the center.
100% for so many reasons. People think nostalgically, they miss their loved ones, they think back to trauma they've had earlier in life, et cetera. And then financial issues. There are so many things that impact us emotionally at this time of the year. The center is located in the historic El Club del Barrio building. I speak Spanish too, as you could hear. So I say,
Yes,
but I can't
absolutely.
just say El Club. I want to say El Club del Barrio
El
building.
Club
So
de
why
Barrio, claro.
Sí, exacto, preciso. So why is it so important to bring that space back to life? Because that has a special meaning, right?
Yeah. Again, the Lincoln Park district, as the mayor said in the press conference, such a powerful district. Think of Washington Square Park in New York City. Think of Union Square. Think of historical landmarks. And El Club del Barrio started in the 80s. And if, again, speaking of things to reminisce about in the worst way possible, in the heart of the substance abuse crack had hit our center cities, AIDS epidemic, and El Club de Barrio was really the center there with an integrity house with the other social service providers to meet the needs at that time. So to come full circle and 40 years later to address mental health, I think it's a perfect kind of full circle moment for that building, for the community, and for Newark in general.
Absolutely. And tell us what your approach looks like with families at that center.
Sure. We call it the liberation health model in layman's terms, and I think in healthcare we've started to understand the whole idea of social determinants of health. That it's not about the choices that people make; it's about the choices they have available to them. So I think that's the first premise of the liberation health models in the simplest terms possible. The second tenet of that is basically the idea that mental health services need to be for us and by us, right? If your family has never faced the fear of deportation, how can you help address the trauma of someone whose family has faced deportation? So I think that's the second piece of it, understanding, right, the systemic barriers that we face. And then the third piece, like all of us, we have a culture, we have a religion, or we don't have a religion, we have a cultural background that we have to put into the context, because so many times when we face trauma, we just think about, oh, what did I do wrong? And there is liberation in breaking it down and saying, hey, hold on a second, let's talk about your piece of it, but let's understand the cultural and systemic barriers. So it's really that triangular approach to approaching mental health, to support our families the best way we know how.
And you guys offer support for children, adults, and families, right? You do it all. What kinds of mental
Yes,
health
yep, we're
challenges are you
doing.
seeing right now?
Yep. We're supporting all. The only thing we can't do is 0 to 5 care, which that requires additional licensing and additional training. But basically, from school age all the way up through seniors, is and the irony of this, right, Ken, we all think of our seniors as the most stubborn, the most not wanting to do things. We actually are hearing that that's the population who's actually most seeking these services, right? Whether it's for themselves or for their children or for their grandchildren. So it's been an interesting dynamic that a lot of seniors have stepped forward and said, "Hey, I know somebody who needs help, or I need help dealing with the issues I'm going through."
That's a good thing too. The wise people who use their wisdom wisely. RWJ Barnabas Health and New Jersey Department of Children and Families also are partners. So how important has that been?
Uh, Again, I think it's been critical. It's a wise investment on both of their parts, right? The more we can get people to solve their problems sooner, the less we're going to spend down the road. And I think one of the things, it's kind of a symbiotic relationship, right? If we fight somebody who's in real trauma or real distress, we can get them to the hospital when needed. And the same thing, we don't want people going to the hospital, but now the hospital can make a call to us and say, hey, this person doesn't really need the hospital. They just need to talk to somebody. So, again, I think at the end of the day, we see it as an investment, a partnership, and making sure that and going back to you tapping into one of the most trusted brands in Newark and probably in our state with La Casa de Don Pedro. So people know us. It's not going to be like, oh, go to somebody and they're like, I don't know who that is. They're going to know the name La Casa de Don Pedro and know that they're going to get the help that they need.
Peter, what's a website for more information?
Sure. Go to lacasadonpedro.org / El Barrio Wellness is probably the easiest way to do it. And there's also an El Barrio Wellness or a mental health website, but La Casa de Don Pedro / El Barrio Wellness is the easiest way to do it.
Well, you're amazing for what you do. Peter Rosario, President and CEO of La Casa de Don Pedro, thank you for coming on this morning. Happy Thanksgiving, my friend.
Happy Thanksgiving. And just for the record, turkey chili is my favorite kind of chili. I much prefer it to regular turkey.
You're
I know
on.
Pam's
You're
going to be
coming
like,
over.
don't encourage him, but we got to have a little humor at the end of this.
I'm with you. I'm with you, my friend. God bless you, and thank you for what you do.
Thank you so much.